Hi everyone, it's Alex here and I'm here in Ho Chi Minh City. So today we're going to be talking about what it's like living in Vietnam, and we're also going to a snail restaurant to show you what that's like. And today we're going to chat to Evan over here a little bit about living in Vietnam and what he likes about living in Vietnam, what it's like to live here and spend time in Vietnam. And we also originally did a video with Evan about his story of living abroad and teaching abroad. So yeah, in this video we'll talk a bit more about the lifestyle here. So do you want to just quickly say hi, introduce yourself?
Yeah, what's up? Hi guys, my name's Evan. I originally came over here, China previously, but I'm a Canadian, lived abroad in the US and Mexico as well. And really my whole abroad expat life started as a teacher, first as a TEFL teacher, then as an international school teacher. Did stints as at the college where you do like an adjunct lecturer job. Basically I've done every kind of teaching abroad you can do. And that's what's funded and fueled and almost 2 decades of incredible life abroad, and the last 7 years now here in Vietnam, primarily in what I like to call Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, because it's been, for me, in this part where we are now, which is downtown Ho Chi Minh City, is really like old Saigon. Yeah, and I love it.
Let's talk a bit about what you like most about living in Ho Chi Minh City and in Vietnam.
My first impression of Vietnam and Ho Chi Minh was really bad. I'd previously in 2018 been in China. I'd been primarily working online at the time and sort of like doing a long location scout. I'd got a 10-year visa to China, was working online, traveling city to city, basically deciding what city I wanted to live in long term and how much I could commit to being in China. By that point I'd had, over roughly a decade of experience living abroad, mostly funded by teaching. And China is so organized, so put together, so rule bound and rule abiding. And it's also, to be frank, higher paying. Your pay is a lot higher in China than here. So I'd had these 2 job offers in Shanghai, and it really felt like the culmination of a decade of hard work for me. One job offer was for $75,000 US with a ton of add-ons and bonuses, literally a house, like an on-the-campus house in Pudong, which is a nice suburb of Shanghai. The other job didn't have a house tied to it, but it had a housing allowance. It was a 6-figure offer, so I think it was for me, it was a lot of money. It was like $110,000 or something. As an expat in China, you can basically avoid paying tax with that amount of money. So it was like, holy cow, I'm gonna have a lot of cash in my pocket. I'd been in China for a year. I knew that I could live really, really frugally, really affordably, and have a great time and travel. And then I went on a camping trip with another teacher friend back home who was here in Ho Chi Minh City. And he just totally threw it out as a curveball, was like, hey man, you should come work with me. And I was like, well, I don't know, why would I do that? I'd been to Thailand, I'd been to Cambodia, I'd been to Indonesia and Bali in particular, so I traveled around Southeast Asia a lot, but I'd never set foot in Vietnam. So it was my move to Vietnam was really sight unseen. When he told me about the job, his big selling point, which may or may not know, is that the thing about those jobs I mentioned in China is I mentioned all the great parts. The flip side is people in China work hard, okay? Like at schools, at everywhere. That is the culture. It is a labor intensive, hardworking, they really feel like we're gonna better our lives, we're gonna better our country, we're gonna better everything, and we're gonna do it by grinding. They are hard workers. And so I knew that either of those jobs, I'm gonna be going in on Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning. I'm gonna be expected to show up in a blazer with my tie tight, which is cool. I'd worked at schools like that in colleges before. I had blazers. And my buddy, Mike, shout out Mike, was like, nah, man, nah. Come to Vietnam. We punch out at 3:30. You'll be in the parking lot on your motorbike by 3:40. hanging out at the cafe or the bar or wherever you want to be by 4 in the afternoon, 5 days a week, you know? And then it turned out I knew the head of school at the time at the school he was working at, because it's a bunch of Canadians, from a past job in Canada. And she basically said the same thing when we had a job interview, like, hey, like, you know, show up, do a good job, do what we expect you to do everything sort of above the line. We're not going to drop any weird shit on you on weekends or anything else. You know, a ton of the people coming over are traveling, you know, 5 o'clock Friday night, they're at the airport already going somewhere. They're doing trips, they're doing fun, they're doing all this beautiful stuff. So they really sold me on a lifestyle proposition. And again, I love like the sitting on the stool, slurping a bowl of noodles lifestyle. I already knew that was for me. You know, I knew that like I was going to be able to live frugally, eat noodles on the street, have that sort of Anthony Bourdain kind of dream scenario play out. And I wanted that badly. But what everybody told me was like, even though your salary in Vietnam is going to be half, or really only maybe even like 40% of China, you're going to be able to save all your money. And for a couple of reasons. One, the cost of living here is just still right now to this day, totally uncomparable with anywhere I've ever been on earth. The quality of what you get versus the cost just totally seems like a cheat code. I mean, people use geo arbitrage or whatever, but Vietnam in particular is really special that way because things are actually really good, even though they're still really cheap. And I didn't believe that until I got here. But when I got here, it was like the chaos, the noise, the bikes. I didn't like it at first. Yeah. And D4 is like the most typical of that. And it's super ironic that I now ended up marrying a woman from District 4. We spend a lot of time in District 4. You know, I come down here all the time. We live in a suburb south of the city that's connected to the city by this district. But it is still sort of a bottleneck, right? So the point being, until you immerse yourself, until you integrate and meet locals and hang out with locals in a place like District 4, if you're just in a car, like a taxi cab, or even just driving through District 4, this place feels like a nightmare, right? Like on a superficial impression of it, it's just traffic and exhaust and noise and intensity, and it doesn't seem inviting or welcoming. It seems like basically a bottleneck between downtown and District 7. But then, you know, when you actually get invited in and meet some locals, that's when you get to understand like how truly unique and incredible Vietnam and Vietnamese people are. And the Saigonese too are different. The Saigonese and Southerners are different than the Hanoians and the Northerners. And I just really fell in love with the place and the culture, and then a woman too. And I feel like I'm basically going to spend the rest of my life here now, you know?
We've got a snail restaurant right here, so we're going to go try some of the snails. Okay, so we found a little snail restaurant here along the side of the street, and we're going to chat a bit more about a few things that we like about Vietnam. So first of all, here you can see the little table we're at. Street side spot, and they're going to bring the snails soon. Since we're here about to get some Vietnamese food, what would you say are your like top 3 dishes in Vietnam?
Snails is definitely one of them. So like op are coming out for op, especially here in District 4. There's a couple like really special places at night. It's called like Niao, or like eating beer snacks. There's different variations in Hanoi and here in Ho Chi Minh, but in Ho Chi Minh, instead of iced tea, you have iced beer in a plastic cup, and you get snails, and you know, often just have a huge full spread, and it's almost like appetizers or meze or tapas or something, right? Where you're just having one little plate after the other, picking away, and it's really as much about socializing and drinking and being out on the city streets as it is about the actual sort of like food or cuisine, though the snails are delicious.
Yeah, I'll add to that just while we're talking about it. I think for me, that's one of the best things about living in Vietnam is like the food culture really emphasizes going out and eating with people and having like a slow meal and drinking and eating and chatting. And you can just find a spot like this, especially if you see it's busy, that's a good sign. There's a lot of people there, so we didn't even plan to come to this one, but we just saw it on the side of the street. And it was busy, so we decided to come here.
I knew that another huge benefit of moving to Vietnam over China was literally that, is the coffee and banh mi and bread and all the different bread dishes. So there's not only sandwiches here, there's also different like soups and stews and things that and this type of snails we're getting kind of coconut sauce snail where you dip bread into the sauce. And it's like uniquely and wholly Vietnamese, but it's taken and adapted from when there were French colonizers here. And so that culture that is, I think it's even stronger here in Saigon, but you feel it in Dalat and parts of Hanoi, in Mui Ne too. There's different spots down south in Can Tho, places where the French were, and the Vietnamese took the things that the French had originally tried to impose and made them their own. And that for me is ties into the Niao as like the cafe culture. It's a funny country because it's so busy, especially in Ho Chi Minh. People are always working, they're always doing stuff. But at the same time, you can somehow paradoxically always find people sitting at a cafe. And I love that. Like I really love being out early in the morning. Like, so here's a good comparison. The last time I was in Korea, I was in Seoul. No, I was in Busan like maybe 6 months ago. And I literally would wake up at the hotel and then wander the streets aimlessly because I'm a really early riser. Wow, come on, Chi. Yeah, okay, don't worry. Yeah. Thank you, come on. And I wander the streets aimlessly for like hours and hours because I'm used to waking up at 5 a.m. here at the crack of dawn, and no one is up in Seoul before like 10, or in Busan before 10 a.m. So the cafes literally open at like 9, 10, 11 a.m. And in Vietnam, I'm used to cafe culture starting at 5 a.m., like when it's still dark. It's really normal here, anywhere in the city, to roll out of your apartment at 5 in the morning, to find a cafe or a spot like this. You order a coffee, and then it's also totally accepted and normal here to either bring your own food to the cafe and just eat in the cafe, like so bring a banh mi, bring a snack, or to grab bike deliver. Like you can be sitting at a cafe, you know, doing your work, doing your morning reading, whatever it is you like to do when you first get up, checking your social media, drinking a coffee, and have a grab bike like drop off food. So I have like a, you know, assistant, coworker, friend that I work with a couple times a week, and she's local, and it's just like, it's expected. Sometime during our like co-work session, we're gonna have banh mi dropped off. Oh yeah, beautiful. Come on. So okay, so I can break down what some of these are too. This is like Sodiet Mohan. So Sodiet Mohan is like tiny scallops with scallion oil, and this one is a lemongrass and soup steamed. They're like a kind of penny clam, like a cockle, but they're really delicious. And the actual soup, you get this incredible, like salty, brothy lemongrass tinted clam juice.
Look at all that lemongrass in there. That's great.
And then this is the famous, it's like sweetened, so it's condensed milk sweetened coconut sauce. It's like a sweet coconut milk sauce, and it's like, all three of these are really traditional and classic dishes.
This one's my favorite. I love that coconut sauce. So good.
Yeah, and we can ask if they have some banh mi to dip in there. And then my number one, this is kind of boring, but I kind of have to say it. It's got to be some variation of beef broth soup. I think it's debatable. You know, everybody has their own version. Bun Ba Hui is a really incredible special version. It's kind of everything. In the north, in Hanoi, northern pho, or like pho ba, what's the word for north? Back?
I don't know.
Back? Anyways, the word for south is nam. I think north is back. But My favorite has to be Saigonese pho, like pho bo nam, which is the pho that you get back home. So it's the pho that I was used to, that I'd tried in Toronto and then later in California. And it's the sort of like everything where you get a full like herbs, greens, salad, you put in hoisin sauce, you put in some version of chili or sriracha sauce, and I just love it. It's like everything in a bowl, and the broth is amazing. Yeah, even though it's the dish of Vietnam, as whatever stereotypical as that is, those are definitely my favorites. Got to start with the snails in Saigon, the op, the niao. Number two has got to be the coffee and banh mi. I prefer the like Saigonese style cold cut sandwich, like the everything dak viet, and then so whatever your favorite beef soup pho bo for sure.
I also love the Saigonese pho, so pho bo thai with the rare beef. I really like that, and it's slightly sweeter broth than the northern. But I think I've just lived here longer, and I prefer that, so it's really good. Yeah, those are all solid dishes. I'd add in some for myself. Kum tam sun in Saigon, broken rice with pork chop, really good. And yeah, maybe some wonton nung, but so many good dishes to try. But yeah, let's give this a go, huh? Let me try one of these scallops. I like they have chives on them, right? Chives and peanuts.
Yeah, it's like chive oil scallops. In D4, you can get this kind of scallop, but it's just bread, like this, that it's served like this. So you just get like a piece of toast with like peanuts and scallion oil on it.
I like this meal. It's light and not too filling. I mean, you can eat it slowly and get full, but you don't feel like you're having a massive meal. With the snails, sometimes you can scoop it out with the tiny little fork, but sometimes you just have to like suck out the flesh.
Yeah, small clams.
Yeah, it's good with the lemongrass. Another interesting thing I think about Vietnamese culture and like life in Saigon, you're often sitting at a restaurant like this and you see a lot of like life going on around you because people are living here, but there's restaurants as well. There's a lot of that integration between neighborhoods where there's restaurants and also people living versus, in other cities, it's sort of like you have the commercial area, you have the area with restaurants. This is very separated versus here, you see people like selling fruit over here, all of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we've got some crab as well.
That's got chili salt on it too, so it'll probably be a bit spicy.
Chili salt on the crab, nice.
Yeah, there we go. Ooh, it's hot. Yeah, so it's been deep fried.
Yeah. Awesome. Have you tried the haircuts on the street?
Yeah, I have a whole YouTube channel where all I do is get my hair cut. I'm dead serious.
Right.
It's like my burner YouTube channel.
It's quite fun, right? Just a good experience.
Yeah, I have a buddy who does it. He has like a haircuts and massages channel, so I started going out with him just for fun, filming him, and then I was like, well, I may as well just do this.
Nice. I see there's like a little hairdresser here, not the street side one, but
I noticed one near the cafe earlier, like a proper, just a mirror against the wall, right? There's a mirror against the wall in a chair.
It's quite a skinny crab, right? So are you managing to get in there to the flesh?
No, I bite.
Do you bite it?
Yeah. Good, eh?
That's really good with the salt and chili.
Bánh mì nóng đây, bánh mì mới ra lò đây.
Our banh mi.
Ah, there we go. There's our banh mi.
As promised, eh? Tintin.
Hai bánh mì nóng giòn đây.
Yeah, come on.
Bánh mì nóng giòn đây.
It's okay, it's okay.
Bánh mì nóng đây, bánh mì
Yeah,
mới
come
ra
on.
lò đây.
Wow.
Hai bánh mì nóng giòn
And
đây.
they're warm out of the bread. Ask and you shall receive, right?
Yeah.
Is this not exactly what we're talking about?
Đây.
Cảm ơn anh, thank you.
Nóng đây, bánh mì mới ra lò.
Like that's something that would only happen in Vietnam. We're just talking about they don't have banh mi, and then a guy just pulls up and sells us a banh mi. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah, you can dip the banh mi in that sauce. That's my favorite.
Oh, this is a,
Sauce is so good.
it's so good.
Yeah. All right, so let's try this banh mi with the coconut sauce. I wonder what the price is. What is your guess that this whole meal is going to come to for both of us?
If I had to ballpark it, 200 to 250. $8 to $10 would be my guess.
That's what I had in mind too. I mean, it's seafood, so it's like a bit more expensive than a regular, just like bowl of noodles or something. Oh yeah, and we got more.
Yeah, because I would guess each dish here is probably a couple bucks, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we got these.
It's really good seafood too.
It is, yeah. Actually, there's a lot of seafood in Saigon, and it's not, obviously it's not a coastal city. Well, now technically it is a coastal city because Vung Tau and Saigon have merged. So Ho Chi Minh City does have a beach, weird, but that's the new layout of the city. But anyway, it's not actually a coastal city, but it's only 2 hours away, right? So there's actually a lot of seafood here, and of course it's good to get seafood at a coastal city, but it's so close too, so you still get seafood here.
Well, it's a port, so like where I live in District 7, I can see the port, right? They come up the river. It's the what's it called? It's the mouth of the Mekong, right? The whole Mekong coming down through China and through Laos, through everywhere ends here, so it is still a big port.
What do you think of these ones?
It looks sweet and garlicky. And I'm starting to think about if I'm going to take a nap after this.
Yeah. All right. I think we got to have a little pause and us just finish this. Otherwise, there's a lot to get through. How was the meal?
No, it was great, and it's like a plethora. It's a smorgasbord of snails. You know, it's so much food, and we can ask how much it is. Joy, 点点.
Yeah. Let's see what the bill comes to.
Some in the Mang Bay.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay,
Well,
$3.90.
$3.90. Okay. So it's a bit higher than we estimated, but how many dishes do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 dishes. And it was really good. I mean, so it's going to be about 200K each, so about $8. $8 each, yeah. Not bad for a big seafood meal. In terms of like apartments in Vietnam, like have you had like 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, or like how have your apartments been and kind of the range of what you can get in a cost of apartments?
Yeah, so I definitely started first in District 5 and then in District 7 doing the like classic sort of studio or sometimes like loft style serviced apartment. So they were always places where you could be renting them by the week, by the month, by the 3 months, but you know, you choose your own adventure for how long you want to stay at that kind of place. And you get usually a maid comes in either daily or minimum once or twice a week and is gonna like empty your garbage. A lot of them will do your dishes. Some of them will even take your laundry out. Like they really are, it's a full service living arrangement that way. It's almost like living in a hotel. When I was doing that 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, I'm thinking about when my kid was born. I think the prices are still really the same, or close to the same, like the same plus inflation maybe, you know, maybe it's gone up 4% a year for the last 5 years, so it's whatever it is, it's 20% more expensive now, but I think it's pretty easy to find that kind of place still in Da Nang and Ho Chi Minh for 10 million dong-ish. And you can go up or you can go down a bit, right? You can find cheaper ones or more expensive ones. 10 million dong is about 400 US, like 390 US, depending on the exchange rate. So you're looking at, you know, a clean, nice, if small apartment that's taken care of for you for $12 a day-ish, you know, like the cost of this lunch, which is pretty incredible. When we move into sort of bigger family-style places, right, so I have kids, if anyone doesn't know, I have a Saigonese wife and we have 2 kids who were born in Vietnam, so they're dual citizens, but fully like born and raised Vietnamese. We've always had a 3-bedroom condo, usually in like what's considered a slightly older build for Vietnam, but what at home would probably be considered new, but in buildings that are about a decade old, about 10 years old. They tend to have coffee shops, restaurants, and everything right at the base of the building. They usually have pretty nice amenities, pools, gyms. And I think you can still find these type of buildings for in the 20 to 30 million range, which is like 800 US to 1200 US dollars, like for a 3-bedroom family apartment, 2 bathrooms. With them, you're gonna have to pay utilities. So if you run air conditioning, whatever, it can add another $100 to $200 a month, just depending on the place. Sometimes there's a management fee, but it's usually small. It's usually about $1 million a month, which is about 40 bucks. I really like those places. The alternative is to actually find and rent a house, like a local style house like this, which is what I did in Da Nang. We rented in a local neighborhood, a 3-story, like, you know, classic winding staircase, narrow house. It was amazing to have the extra space for everyone to have their own rooms, separate room for the office. Still really affordable, but you know, those houses aren't built for the rental market. They're built for locals. So you have to understand that everything about them, the bathrooms, the layouts, the like height of things is going to be built for local peoples, and you may or may not like that. They usually come furnished, so they're going to have Viet style furniture, which is often like hard, straight back wooden furniture that you're probably not going to be into as a Westerner. Now the flip side is, it's starting a bit in Da Nang, definitely already exists in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh, are the brand new modern condos. I think them is like the second wave of condos. These are more like what they have now in Kuala Lumpur and Bangkok. They're often like beautiful, luxury, top hole, everything, crazy amenities, but you definitely pay more for it. It's closer to 1,000 US for a 1-bedroom or a small 2-bedroom, depending on the layout.
So yeah, a few other quick questions just about the living in Vietnam. We talked about food, apartments. So what would you say are just some of like your favorite things about living in Vietnam other than those, other than the food and stuff like that? Yeah, just what makes you enjoy living here?
Oh God, I'm gonna try and not be cliche. I think I like the pace. Like, Vietnam definitely has its own structure and rhythm and pace. And as much as I sometimes I still get like road rage from the traffic, or I get annoyed at people being late and not keeping like meticulous Protestant hours and time. It's also those things that push me out of my comfort zone that have changed me the most, right? That have made me, you know, have to like force myself to look at who I am and what's just my default, like what is not a part of my personality. It's just the thing that I was told the way it has to be or the way you're supposed to be. I think about that a lot too in terms of work-life demands, the hours we work, both how many hours, what time of day is a work hour or not a work day. You know, it's classic Vietnamese long lunches and siestas, long coffee breaks in the middle of the day. But then they'll spend a huge number of total hours at their work, even if they're not working all the time. They're hanging out, they're team building, they're whatever. So I think that sort of just overall lifestyle adjustment to being on a different clock, a different time.
I agree with that a lot. Like, I really like the Vietnamese style of doing a lot of things, you know, and it's like work hard, play hard, but there's a lot of flexibility in the way that people live here. And again, you see like people just hanging out on the side of the street in little stools like this, going for coffee on the side of the street, taking a break and like making the most of that time. But Vietnamese people are very enterprising, I think, very entrepreneurial, and they work hard, but also seem to kind of enjoy life quite a lot. So I like that.
Okay, I have one last thought.
Yeah.
So I mentioned earlier, I've been all over Southeast Asia, especially as like a traveler, or backpacker, nomad, or whatever you want to call it. This was in a pre-digital nomad era really, but like whatever, you know, I traveled around a lot. One of the things I love about Vietnam, and I still love, and there's maybe a couple of bit of exceptions in Da Nang and Hoi An, is that Vietnam is not a tourism-based economy. The multiple countries in this area sort of market themselves as being super friendly or all happy and welcoming and warm and smiley. Viets do not. They're no shit. They're like straight shooters. They, tend to be, I don't know if honest is the right word, but like direct and straightforward. And especially in the big cities, it allows you to be anonymous in a certain way. Like, sure, you still stand out, you look different, you are different as a foreigner, you sound different, you smell different, whatever. But you also, like, no one cares about you. And I lived in Mexico for years too, where there's this whole culture of foreigners, gringos, some intensity there sometimes, some tension. Like, there is like 2 places in the entire country of Vietnam and all 100 million Vietnamese people where I can think of where if you show up, you will intentionally be like sold stuff and like hucksters will be in your face pushing stuff on you. For the most part, it just doesn't happen here, which is, to someone who has traveled the world a lot and been a lot of places, it's really hard to explain how valuable that is. To just be left to your own devices. And then when you do try and interact, for Viets to basically be like, sure, we'll interact with you on our terms. And I like that. As much as it causes some marital strife once in a while, I appreciate it,
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, and I feel like Vietnamese people are I agree with that they don't pander to you, but also are, I think, warm and kind and open people in a lot of ways when you do interact with Vietnamese people. Like, for example, many times I've been walking down a random street and a Vietnamese person would like invite me to come drink a beer with them, like just on the side of the street. Thanks. So any like last words to someone that's interested in learning more about Vietnam and potentially coming to live here, work here? What would you say to someone like that?
Whether it's teaching through Ninja Teacher or through like an international school like I did later, or like trying to get a job at one of the colleges, or if you're not into teaching, some other kind of work, even opening your own business in some ways. Both Alex and I have our own business, but doing something that, opening bars, cafes, I've interviewed a lot of expats who do that kind of business too. Something that forces you to engage in the culture, right? Like Jeremy from Jeremy's Kitchen in Da Nang, who I was just talking to, it's a bakery. It's a totally different kind of business, but it forces him to be a part of and integrated and immersed in Vietnamese culture in a different way, right? Both as a colleague and a peer, bureaucratically, and then also serving Viets as a customer base, right? I guess what I'm saying is, if you're gonna stay here a long time, don't just be a digital nomad. Don't just be on a laptop, operating in English, online, totally separated from the country and the people and the culture. Make sure you find your way to actually participate in Vietnam and Vietnamese culture in a way that's more than just taking advantage of the good cost and geo arbitrage.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I've got several Vietnamese team members on the Ninja Teacher team, and it's really great to learn from them about Vietnamese culture. And I think you learn a lot also with the language. You learn more about Vietnam if you learn the language, and also just try and experience Vietnam as much as possible, the way that people live here as well. And I think that's good advice. Yeah, that's pretty much covers it. So thanks so much, Evan, and check out Evan's channel as well. We'll leave a link below, and you can watch the video that we do on his channel as well, and also like learn more about what he does there. So yeah, thanks a lot, Evan.
Take care. Thanks for having me on, and good luck to everyone watching. I hope you end up in Vietnam and I get to meet you one day.